Guys, so this is your girl Ebony, and I am back with another video. And today is story time for me, so that I can get you guys the question that I've been asked before: is why did I get married? And um, giving up on a marriage is the question I've been asked a lot or talked to about a lot. So I'm about to give y'all guys the scoop. Fix my camera. Give y'all guys the scoop on that, and just basically give you guys a rundown on me being married, why did I get married, and all that good stuff. So I'm about to jump into it right now. Uh, why did I get married? Um, I've been asked this question by my spouse, and he's actually asked me this numerous of times, but I actually like put some emphasis and some thought into why did I get married. So when he asked me, my response to him was because I was in love with him, and I knew that I wanted to spend the rest of my life with him. But I also thought about like all the stuff that we have gone through together after I had already answered the question. So after I answered the question, I actually sat down and thought about it, and I realized, like, since we were 13 and a half, because that's when we actually started to be more involved with one another. After we were like actually coming to each other's house, seeing each other, and like getting deeply involved with one another, I realized like the odds were stacked against us for a while. Like, we had our parents not even liking us together. We had people who's like saying stuff about me, stuff about him, and really like trying to put an end to us. People actually say we wouldn't make it past a certain amount of months or a certain amount of years if we made it past those certain amounts of months. And then on top of that, we were both teen parents. So when we became teen parents, that pressure of us being together and being, teen parents actually was put up on us too. So we had like a lot of pressure put up on us way before we officially made like the decision to actually be boyfriend and girlfriend. And we had some rough patches in between time of us being boyfriend and girlfriend, but for the most part, we pretty much got through a lot of stuff. So when I think of why we got married, like, we got married, the reason truly deeply in my heart I feel like why we got married was because regardless of what people said to us, regardless of how my mother felt, regardless of how my family felt, regardless of how his family felt, I knew that I wanted to be with him, and I didn't want to give up on him, and that we could truly make it because we was already going through a lot of difficulties before we even got married. So we was going through a lot of trials and tribulations prior to us even getting married. So I felt like it was destined for us to be husband and wife. But we had to work on some stuff with one another. Like, we had to work on some um issues, like trust issues, and we had to better ourselves financially because when we found out we were like going to be teen parents, we both decided that we were going to get a job and we was going to do whatever we had to do for our child because my mom was not able to work. She was disabled, and his mom, he didn't want to put that responsibility on his mom. He wanted to step up as a man, well, as a young man at the time, to take care of his own responsibilities. So we both came together and made that decision that we were going to step up and do what we had to do as parents and go to school and try to go to school and do what we had to do as parents. And then after our son was born, 6 months later, I find out I'm having another child, and that kind of like scared me because we already struggling to take care of one child, and now we about to have another child on our hands. So it was like a lot of pressure. And yes, I was on birth control. I was on birth control, but I did not know that when you take antibiotics, when you're on the pill, the antibiotics knocks everything out of your system. So during the time that I was being active, I wasn't even protected because I was sick and I took some medicine that completely cleared out my system. So that's how that happened. But that's the reason why I really truly wanted to marry him, because we have been through a lot of stuff, and I have a lot of stories to tell y'all, but I don't have enough time to tell y'all. But we have been through a lot of stuff together as a couple, and we have maneuvered through a lot of stuff together as a couple. Like, he was there with me going through a lot of stuff, and I was there with him going through a lot of stuff as us growing up in our situations and the things we dealt with in our households, his issues with his household and my issues with my household. And we've been there with each other through all of that stuff. We've been there with each other through when we got married. We've been on our own. We had, like, it was just like a lot of ups and downs. So I knew that me and him together, being together was the right feeling for me. I had never felt as comfortable as I did around him. Not saying that like in my relationship with my other boyfriend that I have been with for like a year and a half, I didn't feel, I was like going growing up to build the comfortability with him, but it just didn't last long. But with him, with my husband, it felt so natural. Like, it felt natural to be myself, to be me, and not have to like pressure myself to be perfect all the time, which nobody can ever be perfect, but I didn't feel the pressure to need to be perfect, you know. I never felt the pressure to like all the time look my best. Like, I can have those moments where I'm sad and not having the best of days, and just like come to him who I am, and he accepted that, you know, and he could do the same with me. So that's why I felt like, you know, through it all, he was the one that I could be with for the rest of my life and feel completely fine. And we were going to grow, elevate, and move, maneuver, and just be that couple that people can look up to. That's what I thought, you know. So that's why I really like married him, because the way we was handling stuff as teenagers and the way we were doing things as teenagers, and just like from hearing people that knew us since we were teenagers, like the way that we've been and was going like as teenagers, I really thought like we were that couple, like we was that couple for real. So that's like the real reason why I married him, because I knew like marriage wasn't gonna be a piece of cake and it wasn't gonna be a breeze, but I knew that whatever we went through, we were gonna breeze through it, and we was gonna be fine. But it wasn't like how I thought it would be. So um we got married at 18, and we was just going through all this stuff, all this issues with people saying this and that about us, and saying, well, more so about me, because for some reason people in school did not like me. People in school, so, like more so of girls, And the guys was more so of, they wanted to, I want to say they wanted to take me down more so in school. Guys wanted to take me down because they knew that I was not out here in the streets. My name did not ring a bell in these streets. And they wanted to take me down. So, they was in his ear telling him stories and stuff, telling him stuff about me that was not true, and all these things about me that was not true. So they were in his ear giving him scoops about me that was false. And it was pressure on him because he never had a girl that had so much popularity in school. I had a lot of popularity in school for some reason. I had a lot of popularity in school, but I was like more so of like, I don't want to call myself a lame, but like, I was by myself majority of the time. I wasn't always a part of the normal popular girls. Like, I was not the girl that was the best dressed, or like they name rung a bell, or they had a lot of friends, or guys would talk about them and stuff like that. That was not me. I was more so by myself. Because when I was in school, around the ninth grade, I was pregnant with my son. And, like, I was a ninth grader pregnant. So I was by myself. And later on, like, other girls was popping up pregnant, but I mean, I was still by myself. I was quiet. I was into my homework and my books and my stuff that I needed to do. I was into me. So, you feel me? My bad, seeing something pop on my screen, but I was into me, being myself. I wasn't into like being somebody that I wasn't. I was being me, who I was. I was quiet. I wasn't no drama girl. I didn't go back to the he say she say stuff. I don't do that. So that's why I was never a part of the girl popularity group. But everybody knew me because in middle school I was on the dance team. So I had a lot of clout being on the dance team. People knew me, and when we would perform, I killed it. I'm sorry to toot my own horn, but I killed it when I performed. So everybody knew me, and then a lot of guys. I was more friends with a lot of guys in school, so I had more male friends that I associate with, that I talk to, that I chill with, that I rock with, more than females, because men are men. They don't do all that he say she say stuff. Even though now is more of that now, but back then in school they wasn't like into drama and he say she say and stuff like that. So I had more male friends. It was chill. We talked, we laughed, we chopped it up, and that was that. Like, I never felt the pressure to be in drama and a part of all these female groups and stuff they got going on. So, and I was more so popular because of the men that liked me in school and thought I was pretty and was trying to get at me in that way. That's why my name rung a bell. But like in high school, I really didn't have that much popularity, but they knew me. And then my husband, which was my boyfriend at the time, they knew us. They knew us. He was more so in the popular thing, the popular group, because him and his cousin was well known around school. More so, his cousin was well known around school. So him and his cousins and stuff at school, they was well known. So that's why everybody knew me. They knew me because of my husband at the time, boyfriend, was well known. Okay. Yeah. So when we became teen parents, the pressure was really didn't put on us because my birth mother, which if y'all don't know, I'm adopted. That's another story too. Um, she called and talked to him and was like, "Well, you are having kids. You might need to think about marrying her." So he thought about it. And he was like, "Yeah, because I see myself spending the rest of my life with her. So yeah, of course." So he didn't have a job at the time, but then got a job, and he decided to engage me, and we then got engaged. But he couldn't afford like a nice ring, so he did what he could do. And he was like, well, yeah, we're having kids, and I don't want my kid out of wedlock, so I do want to marry you one day. So he bought me a ring, and we got engaged. And after that, a little bit after that, we went and got our marriage license. So at 17, we went and got our marriage license because we was planning on getting married. So we were gonna get married on my birthday, but that didn't happen. We were gonna get married when I turned 18, but that didn't happen on my birthday. We had to wait. So when you're in my state, which is South Carolina, you can get married at 18. But if you getting married at 18, I mean before 18, you have to have a parent's consent to get married. So I turned 18, so I could get married because I was already 18. I was an adult, considered an adult. But he had to wait till his birthday, which was a month after mine. So he didn't want to wait till he turned 18. He wanted to go ahead and do it then. So on July 23rd of 2008, we got our marriage license, and we signed. No, was it that? No, we didn't get married that time. We got our marriage license before that time. So we had got our marriage license. I believe after a week after my birthday, and then we decided that we wasn't going to do the whole ceremony thing, that we was just going to go ahead and get married. So he wanted his grandma to be there because she was more of that parent, that parent that's been more in his life than his mom, so say. But his mom has been in his life, but he wanted his grandma to be a part of that. So his grandma ended up being a part of that. His uncle and his older brother and our two kids. I wanted my mother to be a part of it, but she wasn't approve of it. Like, she didn't really want me to go through with it. Then, excuse me, she didn't really want me to go through with it then. So I ended up telling her, as we went to the justice of whatever you call it. So we went to the person that's legal to marry us. So July the 23rd, we went to her that afternoon, and she really didn't approve of everybody being there, but she allowed his grandmother and his uncle and his brother to be a part to witness that. So we got married July the 23rd of 2008, and the first 5 years of our marriage has been wonderful. We have went through a lot of ups and downs and trials and tribulations of us being married. But like, one advice I want to give to you guys, if you're gonna marry somebody, don't marry them because you love them. And I know I heard Jeremy Holloway, and I always talk about Jeremy Holloway because his videos are very like detailed and explanatory of a lot of stuff and situations in people's life. So I talk about him because he gives a lot of insight and information that's very useful and helps you think about stuff and how you think about things and help you understand things in a different perspective. So one of the things he said is that don't marry or don't be with somebody solely because you love them. Because I'm going to be honest with you guys. Love is a feeling. Just like being happy is a feeling. Just like being excited is a feeling. Just like all these other emotions and feelings that we have. All these things are feelings. And guess what? Feelings tend to go away. Not saying that my love has gone away, but Like being in love with a human being, like solely putting your everything, your all, like feeling emotionally tied to a person, feeling like you cannot live without the person, that can change. That can change drastically. And the reason why I say that can change drastically, because when me and my husband got together, we were when we got together, we were 13 and a half years old. We were still trying to figure ourselves out. We were still living life. We were teenagers. And then on top of that, we had a kid. You know what I'm saying? Like we had a child on top of being teenagers, on top of figuring stuff out, on top of figuring ourselves out, on top of changing in the process. You get, like, we still were growing. And I'm not gonna say that I regret that time that we got married, but at the same time, you know, oh sorry, I had to adjust myself. But at the same time, like I felt like we could have waited because we still had a lot of growing up to do. We had still had a lot of stuff to understand about one another, even I mean ourselves independently. We had a lot of stuff to think about and learn about ourselves. So at the same time, I don't regret marrying him, and the feeling and the emotion of me being in love with him has altered solely because of the human being that he is today. You get what I'm saying? Like the human being that he is today. The fact that I seen him change from someone he used to be to someone he is now. And then understanding him as a person, as being with him and living with him and growing with him and watching him go through the changes that he has went through, I understand that maybe I am not the woman for him. And the reason why I say maybe I'm not the woman for him is because of his interests and his needs, what he needs from a woman. And I feel like I'm not able to meet those needs that he particularly needs met. Okay? And as me growing up, I feel like maybe he is not the man for me solely because I have needs that aren't met by him. So just by us being married, I realize that we both have needs that is very important to us and that needs to be met. Okay? Um Now talking about the bad times. I'm going to get into talking about the bad times. The bad times does not necessarily mean cheating, okay? It's not always cheating. Bad times are those times where, okay, a time in my life where I was going through a mental breakdown, which I already explained that on this channel. Okay, it was a time where I was going through a mental breakdown. And he didn't understand what I was going through, which is totally understandable because my family still don't understand either, which is totally understandable. But at the time, I was going through my mental breakdown, and I've got diagnosis and all that stuff, and he was there for everything with that. Now, there was a turn in my mental state, and there was like a turn in like certain things that now I needed, and he didn't understand, and it was explained to him. I explained it to him, you know and that's like a bad time. That's a bad time. And instead of getting clarity or talking to somebody to figure out how to get through these moments and these times, it was more so of a, like, I was being pushed away because he didn't understand it. And when that is going on for so long, like you being pushed away because because of an issue or a problem that is going on, and you don't understand what is going on. At that time, that was a bad time for me. That was a bad time for both of us. But the way that is handled was, I feel like, wasn't handled properly or correctly, because it's something that your wife is going through that you don't understand, and instead of getting information and understanding about the situation, it was not getting, you know, we weren't meeting each other where we needed to be met to, in the middle. So that was one bad time. And I feel like both of us could have handled this situation differently, and both of us could have looked at some things from a different perspective and got a little bit better understanding of the situation. But it was just like we were going through so much other stuff at the time that was going into a snowball effect that made things worse until things got out of control. And then when things get bad, it plays a big role on feelings, emotions, your mindset, how you feel about a person, how you think about a person. And that's what people do not understand, is that when you do something to a person, and when you do something to, especially in a relationship, when something is being done to you, or you were doing something to someone, you're actually leaving marks and scars and imprints on people. So you have to be very cautious and understanding of what it is that you're doing, especially if this is someone that you're saying you want to spend the rest of your life with. You understand? Like, if I'm saying I want to spend the rest of my life with you and I love you and I care about you, then I'm going to be cautious to the situation. I'm going to give this situation tender love and care. Okay? So y'all have to understand that in a marriage, it's not just like a temporary thing. You can't just do what you want to do. And people like to say marriage goes in cycles. Yes, there are cycles and there are things that happen, and there is not always good things. And there's always smiling and vacation and picture times. There's not always that. But at the same time, when you're going through those bad times, I'm talking about bad times. I'm talking about cheating, but cheating, not even just cheating, because cheating is not really a big thing to me that can't be overcome but needs time. But I'm talking about, like you have to realize cheating to me is different for other people, and some people can't handle that or whatever. But that's a whole nother topic and situation at hand. But it's like, okay, about the giving up on the situation. Now, I would never want to give up on my marriage. Let's be clear. I would never want to give up on my marriage. I would never want to just end, like just this end, because we have issues and problems that's constantly getting bigger and bigger and bigger, and no resolution to the problems. I will always try to find a way to resolve issues without anybody even being a part of it. I would never ask somebody, you know, oh, what's a good advice, or what's this that we can do, and go off of what they say. We have to search deep down within ourselves to find a resolution within ourselves on how we can work together to resolve problems that we have. So I'm not gonna ask. I'm gonna get advice and I'm gonna get counseling and do all that. I'm gonna like exhaust all my resources, exhaust all exercises, anything that I could possibly do to fix the problem. If it cannot be resolved, if we can't come up with a resolution, if we can't look at things from, okay, I understand where you're coming from, you understand where I'm coming from, how do we meet in the middle? If that cannot happen, then I'm gonna just wash my hands with it all together because it becomes mentally draining. It becomes physically draining. It becomes to a point where you keep constantly going through things and you're losing yourself. You end up losing yourself. And that's what people don't understand. Okay? You can keep the cycles that people go through, which they think is, oh, you do this to me, I'm gonna do that to you, or I do that to you, you're gonna do that to me. That's not how it's supposed to go. Because at the end of the day, how my mindset is when you're married, when you're in a relationship, when you're in a commitment, is that we have things to do. We have a purpose while we're together. You understand? You have a purpose, I have a purpose. We have a purpose and we must fulfill this purpose. If I'm hindering you from fulfilling your purpose, from you becoming your best, from you being your best, if you're hindering me from being my best, if you're hindering me from fulfilling my purpose, if we're not helping each other grow, we're stopping each other. We're blocking each other. We're not working together. We're actually putting more damage and hurt upon one another than we are helping each other grow. That's what being married. That's how I feel about that. So when health issues is involved, and other things is involved, and every year is looking worse and worse and getting bad, and all this stuff, then you have to sit back and see, okay, is this good for me or is this not good for me? Is this bad for me or is this not bad for me? And then you have to seek God. You always have to seek God in a situation. So maybe there's time needed to be had where y'all separate. Now, that's not saying separate and go do you, because that's not what you're separating for. You're separating to resolve problems and issues and think clear on, when you come back together, how y'all are going to move forward and move past all the rough patches that y'all have. Okay? There is no such thing as somebody being with you, causing you hurt, being disloyal, cheating on you, and that's just cycles. No, that is not it. That's not it for me. I don't understand that. I don't at all understand that. That's just my opinion on it. I don't understand how you can be married and with one another and your spouse is constantly cheating on you. Like, that is not it for me. The Bible clearly gives a guideline on what God believes a marriage is and what his rules are and regulations are for a marriage. And you cheat one time, okay, and y'all work through that or whatever, and then you cheat again, and you work through that, and then it's a third time, it's a fourth time, it's a fifth time, it's a sixth time, and all that stuff. I'm not saying that that's my situation now, but I'm just saying on how I review things in life and how things are going now. Okay, all these many times, and you already understand and you already acknowledge that y'all are married, it doesn't rock and it doesn't fly with me, and I don't understand that. I don't understand that cycle of things. I don't understand you sitting through hurt after hurt after hurt after hurt after hurt, and he constantly does the same thing, knowing that it's hurting you and not understanding that he needs help to stop doing these things. I can't understand that. So that's something I'm not willing to go through over and over and over. Okay, I'm not willing to do that. Okay, I'm just not. I'm sorry. There's too much stuff flying around here and all that stuff. That's just my opinion. That's what people think cycles are. Okay, they think cycles are, if your man cheat, you sit through that and you forgive and y'all work past it and then you do it again. I don't understand that, and that's what I see a lot of people that's married couple that been together for so long, and they say they go through things. Those are not going through things. I'm sorry. Going through things, to me, meaning you have health issues
and you thugging it out with your spouse to help them go through these health issues things, or y'all end up losing your home for whatever reason it is, and y'all trying to figure out how y'all gonna get that roof back over you and your kids' head. Y'all don't have food in the house, and it's because the money is low and y'all struggling right now, but y'all trying to figure out how y'all gonna maintain and getting food in the house. Or your spouse is the breadwinner and now he doesn't have a job, and now you have to become the breadwinner, and y'all working together to figure that out. That's what struggle in bad times to me looks like. It doesn't look like cheating, infidelity. It doesn't look like that to me. Bad times are what they say bad times are. You get sick and you don't know what to do, and all these things that actually are bad times that y'all actually really truly gotta fight through. Cheating is not no situation where you have to fight through, and I say that solely because it's a choice. You're choosing to do that. You're choosing, and you know that you're married, or you know you in a commitment. You feel what I'm saying? And you're choosing to do that. When y'all have other issues and other problems and bigger things to deal with, and you're choosing to do that, that to me is unacceptable. I'm just saying. It's not what I'm going to do. I'm just giving y'all my opinion, okay? Now, verbal and disrespect and physical abuse, that doesn't fly with me, because in my mind, in my life, and who I am as a person, the people that I love, your words mean a lot to me. Your words mean a lot to me. What you say to me, how you look at me, how you are proud of me from what I do and when I don't do, and how check me when I'm wrong. That means a lot to me. So when you're constantly repeating these negative things that you say that cuts, and I mean cut to the core of your soul, to no return. When you say things like that and you're supposed to love me, you're supposed to care for me, you're supposed to I'm supposed to mean everything to you, and you can just say those things, that hurts. That hurts, and I start to think of you different. You know what I'm saying? Like, I start to look at you different. I start to view you differently. Then I start closing my heart towards you and my mind towards you because of the words. Words do cut. They cut very deep. Your words cut, your actions hurt too. What you do to a person hurts too. How you constantly keep treating a person, that hurts too. That hurts. That it hurts a lot. So when I say give up, I'm not saying like give up, be done, all like out, unless it's necessary. Okay. Now, y'all going through all these things. Y'all have talked about it. Y'all try to get an understanding, and it's not going anywhere. Guess what? Now you have to separate and you have to think. And then when you come back, if it's not resolved, then you have to let that be that, and you have to move forward, because you don't want that situation in life or those things in life to hinder you from moving forward. So, with all that being said, that's my story time of marriage, and I might do a part two, solely because I have went into so much detail in explaining, and I think that was a very good story time. And also, if you guys want me to do a part two on why did I get married, just leave that down below in the comments. If you haven't subscribed already to my channel, go ahead and subscribe to my channel. But I do have more to say, and I just want to know if you guys want a part two to this, so I can go ahead and make part two. But I love you guys. I thank you for supporting me, and until next time, this is your girl Ebony. Peace.